The breaking point. Captain Maya Chen stood at the viewport of the diplomatic vessel Defiant, watching the enormous crystalline structure of the Galactic Council headquarters slowly rotate against the backdrop of stars. After 15 years as Earth's military liaison to the Council, she had grown accustomed to the spectacular view, but today it filled her with a strange mixture of sadness and anticipation. The message from Earth's president was clear. This would be her last visit to this place. "Captain, the Council is ready to receive our delegation," announced Lieutenant Ramos, her communications officer. Maya nodded, straightening her midnight blue uniform, with its silver insignia of Earth Command. "Very well. Tell Ambassador Jackson and the diplomatic team to meet me in the shuttle bay in 20 minutes. As Ramos departed, Maya touched the small communicator on her wrist. "Admiral Okonkwo, this is Chen. We're about to depart for the final council meeting." The Admiral's deep voice replied, "Understood, Captain. Remember, no matter what they say, no matter how they react, the decision is final. 15 years of disrespect and dismissal is enough. Earth stands united on this." "Yes, sir," Maya responded, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. Phase 1 begins now. The shuttle ride to the Council headquarters was silent, each member of Earth's delegation lost in their own thoughts. Ambassador Elijah Jackson, a tall man with silver-streaked hair and dark brown skin, reviewed notes on his tablet, though Maya knew he had memorized every word of his speech days ago. As they approached the docking bay, Maya watched the alien ships surrounding the station. Sleek vessels from the Artaxians, bulky transports of the Volrathi, and the ethereal lightships of the Dreven, all representatives of civilizations thousands of years older than humanity, all of whom had spent the last 15 years since first contact treating humans like children who had stumbled upon the adult's table. "They still don't see it coming," she murmured. Ambassador Jackson glanced up. "That's the point, Captain. They've underestimated us from the beginning. Today that ends." The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council was a marvel of alien architecture, a vast dome supported by columns of living crystal that hummed with energy. 217 species were represented here, from methane breathers to silicon-based life forms, from hive minds to solitary predators evolved into civilization. The chamber was arranged in tiered seating, with the most influential species, the Founding Seven, occupying the highest platforms. Humans, as newcomers, were positioned near the bottom. High Counselor Zextyrar, a tall insectoid being with multifaceted eyes, called the chamber to order. "Representatives of the Galactic Accord, we convene to discuss the petition from Earth regarding expanded mining rights in their home system." The translator rendered his clicks and chirps into precise English in Maya's earpiece. Ambassador Jackson stepped forward to the central podium. "High Counselor, members of the Council, I'm afraid Earth's petition has changed. I come before you today with a formal notification. As of this moment, Earth and all human colonies are withdrawing from the Galactic Council, effective immediately." For 3 seconds, Maya counted them. Absolute silence gripped the chamber. Then chaos erupted. Delegates rose from their seats, translator devices struggling to keep up with the cacophony of alien languages. Security drones darted back and forth, their sensors flashing in alarm. Zextyrar's amplified voice finally cut through the noise. Silence. The chamber gradually quieted. "Ambassador Jackson, surely this is some form of human humor. Your species is known for its unpredictable communications." Jackson's face remained impassive. "This is no joke, High Counselor. For 15 years, humanity has endured being treated as children in a room full of adults. Our technology dismissed as primitive, our art considered simplistic, our diplomatic initiatives ignored, our military strategies laughed at. We have been patient, hoping for recognition and respect. That patience has ended." Representative Multar of the Volrathi, a massive being with gray-blue skin and 4 arms, let out a rumbling laugh. "Let the humans leave. What has Earth contributed to galactic civilization that cannot be replaced? Their simplistic solutions and emotional decision-making have been tolerated only out of courtesy. Maya felt her jaw tighten, but maintained her neutral expression. This reaction was anticipated, predicted by Earth's behavioral analysts with 94% accuracy. Ambassador Jackson continued calmly. Our withdrawal includes the immediate recall of all human personnel from joint projects, the cessation of all technology sharing initiatives, and the withdrawal of human peacekeeping forces from all disputed borders. All treaties signed under Council authority will be considered void, though Earth is open to negotiating bilateral agreements with individual species. Now a murmur of concern spread through the chamber. Representative Tella Sindari of the Artaxians, a slender humanoid with luminescent skin, rose to speak. Ambassador, surely this is an overreaction. Perhaps we can address specific grievances. The time for negotiations under Council authority has passed. Jackson interrupted, causing several delegates to gasp at the breach of protocol. Earth has made its decision. For those who wish to maintain relations with humanity, our diplomatic channels remain open for direct discussions. High Councilor Zex Tywer's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation. You cannot simply leave, Ambassador. There are protocols, procedures, all of which have been followed. Jackson replied, holding up a data crystal. Our formal withdrawal documentation, prepared according to Article 7, Section 12 of the Council Charter. You'll find everything in order. Maya watched as a council aide took the crystal, confirming its authenticity with a scanner. The aide whispered something to Zex Tywer, whose compound eyes flashed with what Maya had learned to recognize as surprise. This documentation was prepared months ago, Zex Tywer said. You've been planning this withdrawal even while participating in council activities. Yes, Jackson replied simply. Just as the council has been planning to deny our mining rights petition for months while pretending to consider it fairly. That revelation sent another wave of murmurs through the chamber. Earth's intelligence services have become remarkably effective at penetrating council security. Representative Dorn of the militaristic Korvax rose from his seat, his crimson scales gleaming under the chamber lights. Let them go. When their colonies are threatened by pirates, when their trade routes are disrupted, they will return begging for protection. Captain Maya stepped forward, speaking for the first time. Actually, Representative, Earth's defense force has been operating at only 30% capacity in Council joint operations. The remaining 70% has been developing independent capabilities. We can protect ourselves. Before more arguments could erupt, Ambassador Jackson bowed formally to the Council. This concludes Earth's final address to the Galactic Council. We wish you wisdom in your deliberations on galactic matters. Earth will find its own path among the stars. With that, the human delegation turned and walked out of the chamber, ignoring the renewed chaos behind them. As they entered the corridor, Jackson let out a long breath. Phase 1 complete. How long until Phase 2 begins, Captain? Maya checked her wrist display. Economic impacts should be detectable within 24 hours. The ripple effects will hit different sectors at different rates, but according to our models, the Artaxian banking system will be the first major domino to fall. The journey back to the Defiant was tense but efficient. As soon as they were aboard, Maya ordered immediate departure from Council space. The massive engines hummed to life, and the diplomatic vessel pulled away from the station, its course set for Earth. In her private quarters, Maya received a secure transmission from Admiral Okonkwo. Report, Captain. Exactly as predicted, sir. Initial dismissal followed by confusion. The Artaxians showed the first signs of concern. As our models suggested, no attempt was made to detain our delegation. The Admiral nodded, his expression grim yet satisfied. Good. Be advised that we're already receiving unofficial communications from 12 species requesting private channels of negotiation. It seems some of them realize their dependence on humanity faster than others. The Driven? Maya asked, referring to the ethereal beings who had been Earth's strongest advocates in the Council. First to reach out, confirmed Okonkwo. They're proposing a direct alliance, independent of council oversight. Maya allowed herself a small smile. Phase 2 might happen faster than we anticipated. Indeed, the withdrawal of human maintenance teams from the Galactic Communication Network is already causing disruptions. It seems our primitive solutions were holding together more of their infrastructure than they realized. 3 days later, Maya stood in the Situation Room of Earth Defense Headquarters in Geneva, watching real-time data flow across multiple screens. The galaxy was beginning to unravel exactly as Earth's strategic planners had predicted. The Artaxian credit has fallen 32% against independent currencies, reported economic advisor Wei. Their central banking eye, which was based on human quantum algorithms they claimed to have improved upon, is failing to stabilize the market. Communication hubs in 4 sectors are experiencing cascading failures, added Technology Director Patel. It seems the alien engineers removed the redundancy systems our people built in, calling them inefficient. Without those backups, the entire network is vulnerable. Admiral Okonkwo nodded grimly. And the military situation. Defense Intelligence Chief Rodriguez brought up a holographic map showing dozens of flashing points across the galaxy. Border conflicts have erupted in 17 locations where human peacekeeping forces were withdrawn. The Korvax and Valrathi, who've been ancestral enemies, are already exchanging fire near the Deneb sector. Maya studied the data, a complex mix of emotions churning within her. Earth hadn't wanted this chaos, but it had become necessary to demonstrate humanity's value to a council that refused to see it. "Sir," she said to Admiral Okonkwo, "we're receiving a priority transmission from the council. It's marked for President Chen personally." "Right on schedule," the Admiral replied. "The President is expecting it. Phase 3 is about to begin." As Maya left the Situation Room, her communicator chimed with a personal message. It was from Ambassador Jackson. "They're starting to understand what they've lost. Now comes the hard part, helping them rebuild without letting them forget the lesson." Maya glanced once more at the holographic display, showing the spreading disruption throughout the galaxy. The Council had dismissed humanity as primitive, emotional, and unpredictable. They had been right about the last part. What they hadn't realized was that those primitive humans had become the invisible foundation upon which much of modern galactic civilization had come to rest. And now that foundation had chosen to walk away. The galaxy learns its lesson. 1 month after Earth's withdrawal from the Galactic Council, Captain Maya Chen found herself back in space, this time aboard the military vessel, Resolute, a sleek destroyer that represented the pinnacle of human military technology. The ship hung in orbit around Proxima Centauri, Earth's oldest colony, and now the headquarters for humanity's independent diplomatic operations. "Captain, we're receiving another emergency request for assistance," reported Lieutenant Quan, her communications officer. "The Valrathi mining colony in the Epsilon Indi system is experiencing catastrophic life support failures. Their engineers can't stabilize the environmental systems." Maya nodded, unsurprised. Those are the systems that were upgraded with human environmental regulation algorithms 5 years ago. The same algorithms their chief engineer claimed were unnecessarily redundant. "They're requesting immediate technical assistance," Quan continued. "They're offering substantial payment in rare minerals." "Add them to the list," Maya replied. "Priority level based on civilian risk assessment, not payment offered." The list had grown long in recent weeks. Across the galaxy, systems and infrastructure that had incorporated human innovations were failing. The aliens had removed safeguards they didn't understand, modified interfaces they found inefficient, and generally stripped away the elements that made human technology so reliable in unpredictable conditions. Admiral Okonkwo's face appeared on the main view screen. "Captain, I've just come from a meeting with the President. The Galactic Council has officially requested an emergency summit with Earth's leadership." "They finally admitted they need us?" Maya asked, raising an eyebrow. "Not in so many words," the Admiral replied with a thin smile. "They've proposed discussions of mutual concern regarding galactic stability. But the request came directly from High Counselor Zex Tyrer himself, which is unprecedented. Where will this summit be held? Maya asked. That's why I'm contacting you. The President insists it be held on Earth itself, in the open, not behind the closed doors of council chambers. The Resolute will serve as the escort for the council delegation. The Admiral's expression became more serious. This is a delicate moment, Captain. We've proven our point, perhaps more effectively than we intended. Now we need to provide a path forward that doesn't humiliate them completely. Understood, sir, though some humility from the Council would be refreshing. As the Resolute prepared to depart for Earth with its distinguished passengers, Maya reviewed the galactic situation reports. The picture was sobering. 27 major conflicts had erupted along borders formerly patrolled by human peacekeepers. The galactic credit had lost 45% of its value, triggering economic crises across multiple systems. Technological failures were widespread, affecting everything from communication networks to environmental systems. Most concerning were the reports of medical emergencies on worlds with mixed species populations. Human doctors had developed numerous treatments for cross-species infections that the Council Medical Division had implemented, while publicly dismissing as simplistic. Without those treatments, diseases that had been controlled for years were spreading rapidly. We didn't want this, Maya murmured to herself, looking at images of refugee ships fleeing conflict zones. We just wanted to be treated as equals. The diplomatic shuttle carrying High Counselors Exterrar and representatives from the founding 7 species docked with the Resolute 2 days later. Maya met them in the ship's formal reception area, noting the subtle signs of stress in even these composed diplomats. Captain Chin greeted Zex Terrar, his translator rendering his clicks into perfect English. I trust our journey to Earth will be without incident. Of course, High Counselor, Maya replied with formal politeness. The Resolute is the flagship of our escort fleet. You'll be quite safe. Representative Sindari of the Artaxians approached, her luminescent skin dimmed, a sign of fatigue in her species. Captain, I understand you were previously stationed on Artax Prime as part of the Joint Security Force. For 3 years, Maya confirmed. Then perhaps you could explain why our entire banking security system collapsed when your people departed. Our own engineers cannot restore it to functionality. Maya maintained her diplomatic composure. When we designed that system, we included what we call human intuitive interfaces, elements designed to anticipate unpredictable threats. Your engineers removed those components, calling them irrational redundancies. Before Sindari could respond, the ship's alarm blared. Captain, to the bridge, came the urgent announcement. Excuse me, Maya said to the delegation. Please remain here. On the bridge, chaos greeted her. Report, she demanded. We're picking up distress signals from the Deneb sector, replied her first officer, Commander Jackson. The Korvax and Volrathi fleets have engaged in full battle. Civilian habitats are caught in the crossfire. Maya's mind raced. The Deneb sector was 3 days away at maximum speed. How many civilian casualties? Estimates are in the thousands already, with 3 habitat rings suffering critical damage. Maya turned to see that High Counselor Zex Terror had followed her to the bridge, ignoring protocol. This is what happens when humans abandon their responsibilities, the counselor said, his translator unable to hide the accusation in his tone. Maya felt a flash of anger. Responsibilities we were never given credit for fulfilling. Your council treated our peacekeepers as inexperienced juniors while they prevented wars you now cannot control. Zex Terror's compound eyes flashed. Perhaps there have been misunderstandings between our peoples. Misunderstandings, Maya repeated. You systematically dismissed every contribution humanity made to galactic civilization. You implemented our solutions while publicly mocking them. You benefited from our innovations while treating us as primitive newcomers. The counselor was silent for a long moment. What would you have us do, Captain? That's not for me to decide, Maya replied. But I know this ship can reach the Deneb sector faster than any council vessel. I also know we have technologies that could end that conflict quickly, with minimal additional casualties. You intervene, even after withdrawing from council affairs, to save innocent lives. Yes, that's what humans do, counselor. It's what we've always done, even when you called us emotional and unpredictable for it. The summit on Earth began 3 days later in Geneva, after the Resolute's successful intervention in the Deneb sector. The human peacekeeping force had deployed experimental shield technology to protect the civilian habitats and used targeted electromagnetic pulses to disable the weapons systems of both warring fleets without destroying the ships themselves. President Sophia Chen, a composed woman with steel-gray hair and eyes that missed nothing, opened the proceedings in the historic United Nations building. Distinguished representatives of the Galactic Council, welcome to Earth. We meet today not as supplicants, nor as subordinates, but as equals who recognize that our fates are intertwined among the stars. High Counselor Zex Tyrar responded with uncharacteristic humility. President Chen, people of Earth, we come seeking a restoration of galactic stability. Recent events have demonstrated that our civilizations have become more interconnected than previously acknowledged. The diplomatic dance continued for hours, with accusations and defenses from both sides. Maya, seated with Earth's military delegation, watched as the aliens gradually moved from denial to grudging acknowledgement of humanity's contributions. Representative Multar of the Volrathi, who had laughed at Earth's withdrawal a month ago, now spoke with obvious discomfort. The Council recognizes that human solutions to complex problems have merit that we failed to fully appreciate. Your species' tendency toward redundancy and multiple fail-safes, which we considered inefficient, has proven valuable in maintaining critical systems. And what of our place in galactic affairs? Asked President Chen. Will humanity continue to be seated at the lowest tiers of your council, our voices ignored when we speak? An uncomfortable silence fell over the alien delegation. Finally, it was Representative Sindari who spoke. The structure of the Council has remained unchanged for 12,000 years. The founding 7 have always held the highest positions. Then perhaps, replied President Chen, it is time for that structure to evolve. Earth does not seek dominance, but we will no longer accept subordination. The negotiations continued for 7 days. Maya found herself in numerous technical discussions with alien military and engineering teams, explaining the human elements they had so casually removed from joint projects. The concepts of redundancy, intuitive interfaces, and adaptive systems were foreign to species who had relied on standardized solutions for millennia. On the final day, President Chen addressed the assembled delegates with Earth's formal response to the Council's plea for humanity's return. The Galactic Council has existed for 12,000 years, maintaining a fragile peace among the stars. Humanity respects this achievement. However, we will not return to a system that does not value our contributions or respect our voice. She paused, looking at each alien representative in turn. Therefore, Earth proposes the formation of a new interstellar alliance with a governing structure that recognizes contribution over longevity, innovation over tradition, and cooperation over hierarchy. All species, regardless of how recently they achieved faster-than-light travel, would have equal standing based on their ongoing contributions to galactic civilization. High Counselor Zex Tyrar's translator struggled to convey his complex reaction. This would mean the dissolution of the Council, as it has existed for millennia. Not dissolution, corrected President Chen. Evolution. The knowledge and wisdom of the ancient species would still be vital. But so too would be the fresh perspectives and innovative approaches of younger civilizations, not just humanity, but the 17 other species currently relegated to the lowest tiers of Council influence. The Council representatives conferred among themselves, their translators disabled for privacy. Maya watched their alien body language, recognizing the signs of intense debate. When they finally turned back to the human delegation, it was Representative Sindari who spoke. We will bring this proposal back to the full Council, But speaking for the Artaxians, I can say that recent events have demonstrated the wisdom in your approach. Perhaps it is time for new voices to be heard more clearly among the stars. 6 months later, Captain Maya Chen stood on the observation deck of the newly commissioned Unity, a massive diplomatic vessel built through true collaboration between human and alien engineers. The ship represented the first project of the new interstellar alliance, which had replaced the ancient council structure after a galaxy-wide referendum. Maya had been appointed as the vessel's commander, a position that would once have been unthinkable for a human in galactic affairs. The Unity was en route to the Proxima Centauri system, where representatives from 57 species would gather for the Alliance's inaugural assembly. "Quite a view, isn't it?" came a familiar voice. Maya turned to see Ambassador Jackson joining her at the viewport. "Hard to believe how much has changed in less than a year," she replied. "Do you think they've truly learned the lesson?" Jackson asked. "Or will the old prejudices resurface once the crisis is fully resolved?" Maya considered this as she watched the stars streak by. "I think they've learned that dismissing others based on their age or background is not just morally wrong. It's practically foolish. Human innovation saved them from their own rigidity." "And what about us?" Jackson asked. "Have we learned anything?" Maya smiled slightly. "That sometimes you have to walk away to be truly valued, and that even ancient civilizations can change when they have no other choice." As the Unity approached its destination, Maya reflected on the journey that had brought humanity to this moment. They had not sought conflict or chaos, merely recognition and respect. In withdrawing from a system that denied them that, they had inadvertently revealed how essential they had become to the galaxy's functioning. The new alliance would not be perfect. There would be struggles and setbacks. But for the first time, humanity would have a true voice in charting the course of galactic civilization, not as newcomers to be tolerated, but as partners to be valued. Sometimes the universe needed to be reminded that the newest voices often carried the most important messages. Earth had delivered that reminder, and the stars themselves had listened.